In today's demo, I'm going to show you how to sync data from PostgreSQL into Google Sheets. I'll be using Postico to access my data in Postgres. It's a very simple workflow that will allow our data to sync automatically through Unito. The first step when you're creating a flow with Unito is to connect your tool accounts. You'll need your host ID, a port number, database, username, and password. I'm going to skip past this step in the demo. Then you'll select your account and then choose a table. Each flow can only sync one table at a time, and then it'll sync all of the rows from that table to a destination. So once you've chosen your table, you can then connect your other tool. In this demo, I'm syncing with Google Sheets, but of course you can follow the same steps for Excel, Airtable, or other tools that Unito supports. If you haven't connected Google Sheets before, I'll walk you through that process as well. And if you have, you can skip ahead. There are just a couple more steps if you're syncing a spreadsheet tool. There's an add-on you'll need to install. So in this case, you can click on this prompt and it will show you where to go. I already have it installed in one account, so I'm just going to jump to another account to show you what the process is like when you install the add-on for the first time. You can either access it directly from the link or from your spreadsheet by clicking extensions, add-ons, then search for Unito. When you find this add-on, you click install, follow the on-screen instructions. It should be pretty quick. And then you can open it again by clicking extensions and then Unito and then open Unito. Add-on will appear here. So that's Unito spreadsheet sync. You just have to press this button here, add two columns. So this will add columns to your spreadsheet labeled Unito ID and last modified. Just make sure that these are the first and last columns in your spreadsheet. Only data between these two columns will sync. You can hide those columns if you wish, but you can't delete them or modify them. The next step is to set a flow direction. So this just confirms that our data from PostgreSQL will sync over to Google Sheets. Then you can add rules. So this tells Unito what data to sync over from PostgreSQL into Google Sheets. In this case, I'm choosing to sync based on this field that I've created, sync to Unito. So if there's any value, then that row will sync over. And I'll show you what that looks like at the end of this demo. Then for our field mappings, we'll choose to map manually. Because we've named all of our fields, Unito won't be able to identify each of them individually automatically. So we have to choose which fields match. So in this case, I know that the address field in Google Sheets that I've created is the same as the employee address in my PostgreSQL table, department with department. So in this example, you could imagine a list of employees or new hires, but really this is just a demonstration. Everyone's use case is different. Whatever data you have in PostgreSQL can sync over as long as it makes sense to you based on the way your tables and spreadsheets are arranged. So I'll just finish selecting my fields here. And as you can see, the labels of each field don't need to be the same as long as I know what data to put where. The other thing to note is that the first row in Google Sheets is your table header or header row. Those are the names of the fields that you sync. So make sure to fill that out before building your flow. If you modify them while you're building your flow, you'll just need to refresh your Unito screen or the tab or browser. You'll just need to refresh your browser. Now you're watching as the fields in PostgreSQL are syncing over to Google Sheets. I'll make the screen a little bit bigger so you can watch and see only the rows that are labeled true in Postico up here will sync over because of the rules I set in Unito. So the any value field matches with the true field in sync to Unito in PostgreSQL. So those are the rows that appear in Google Sheets. And now I'll make a couple of modifications so you can watch how quickly my data updates automatically with Unito. So the third row was false. I've labeled it true. And you'll watch as it appears in Google Sheets. Just check. I'll press sync now. This is a manual trigger telling Unito to sync my data now rather than waiting. There it is. So that is the new row. And I'll also show you how updates can sync automatically when you make changes in PostgreSQL to sync over to Google Sheets. So let's say that Rosa is no longer in London. She's in Berlin. Save changes here in Postico. You'll watch that update should appear pretty quickly. I'm just going to check. Okay, so it's already syncing in Unito. Let me just jump back over to my spreadsheet, and the change has already been made. So Rosa's city has changed from London to Berlin automatically. Let's say she's moved again. She's not in the engineering department. She is in, let's say, design. So Unito will pick up on those changes right away. And you'll see in about 15 seconds or so, see it's already syncing. And there, Berlin and engineering have changed to New Jersey and design. So that's an automatic update. So that's what Unito can do for your data. As you make changes in PostgreSQL, you'll see those same changes appear in Google Sheets. And finally, let's just add one more row in here. So one of my rows that was marked false in sync to Unito, I now marked as true. And you'll watch as that one syncs over too. So that's the 5th row in Postico. Fanny is going to appear here. It's fluid, continual. You don't need to maintain it. You can trigger a manual sync anytime you want. Let's just see, I'll refresh my screen just to speed this up. But if you don't, then you can just wait for the data to update. Then back over to Google Sheets. And there's the next row. So it was false, I switched it to true, and then it synced over. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out and let us know. Thanks for watching.